Hi everybody, it's Miss Karis, and I am here with an exercise video, actually a warm-up video. We're going to be doing a beginner intermediate jazz warm-up. I do this with my younger classes, but I also do this same warm-up with my adults because this particular warm-up does not do a lot of floor stuff, sitting on the floor. It does do a little bit, but not as much, and my adults don't like getting down to the floor as much. So I wanted to share this one with you guys. So we're gonna go through the warm-up. I'm going to talk you through it and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Okay, so first of all, the first thing that I do is we always talk about posture. I'm gonna start in a standing position so that you guys know when the kids come into the room, the adults come into the room, as they're taking their spots, we talk a little bit about rolling the shoulders back, finding that placement with their rib cage, making sure that the wings, your chicken wings, your shoulder blades are tucked in, right? That we're holding our core, that we're ready to go. You have good posture and we're ready to go. Okay, and so once we're ready to go, everybody's going to stand in a jazz first position. So let's get started. Okay. So like I said, I'm going to be starting in a jazz first position. So let's get going here. And 5, 6, 7, and bounce. So I'm just bouncing with the music, right, to get their blood pumping and also to establish a foundation. Then we go feet, and we stretch the feet. Now, sometimes I'll do this more slowly, and I'll really take my time with it, showing them how to keep the ankles straight, pushing over on the arches. And then sometimes I'll say double time it if I feel like they understand, right? We're stretching those toes, good. Then I do feet together, plie, roll over, stretch, and down, plie, roll over, stretch, and down, plie, roll over, stretch, and down, plie, roll over, and then we stay here. Try to work on our ankles. As you see, I'm adjusting my ankles and we find our balance. And I also like to talk about the upper body and the toes, making sure that we're not crunching our toes, so they're nice and elongated, and we come down. Now we do timed use, so I'm gonna do them slow, half time. Usually I start with slow, making sure that we're really feeling like we're pushing through the floor. And then sometimes I'll try to do it in rhythm, right? This song is a little bit fast. I probably wouldn't do this song quite so fast or do it in time if I were doing a beginner class. Okay, I'd probably take it half time. And then we do also point, flex, point and close, point, flex, really working through the feet, reminding them about their posture, point, flex, yes, good. Okay, so we're gonna continue with more balancing. So the first thing I like to do is talk about the coupe and the passe. So we come with our arms in first position, again, making sure that we're into our back. Sometimes I'll have them face this way, take a second, check your posture, that your belly is pulled in, your core is nice and engaged. And then we go coupe, making sure that heel is there, lifting up to a passe. I have a bad knee, so passe is hard on this side. And then we come back to coupe and down. And left side, and coupe, and passe, and coupe, and down. Again, coupe, passe, coupe, and down, and coupe, passe, coupe, and down. Now we're going to try to go up into our balance. Okay, so we do 3 times, bringing up our right leg into passe and balance. On the 4th time, I'm going to ask them to hold for a longer balance. Okay, so holding our arms, we go plie, we press, come together, and down. Plie, and press, come together, and down. Last time, plie, and press. Come together. Now we're gonna try to hold the balance, right? So we try to stay up here for a little bit, and come down together. Other side, plie, and push. Woo. I have a bad right knee, so my technique is probably not as awesome as it could be, and my strength in my right knee is not great. So this is my fourth one. I would be holding this one. Yeah, ooh, try to correct it. Oh, right, and we come back, and sometimes it's good for them to see you fumble too, right? Yeah, I've been working on this knee. Okay, so after you've done some balancing, I'm gonna step out into second position, reminding them we're in parallel. We open the arms out, engaged in the back, palms, right? Nice jazz hands, and we bounce. 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we go plie, push over, stretch, ooh, and down. That wasn't good. Plie, and over, and stretch, and down. Plie, and over, and stretch, come down. Plie, and over, and stretch, and then we stay here, finding our balance, talking about the upper body, talking about the core, making sure that we can wiggle our tootsies, that we're not gripping the floor, right, nice and high, and then we come down. Now that we are in second position, right, we're gonna start reaching, right? So I'm gonna start reaching across my body, and I'm looking for long lines. Oh, look, my kitten came to play. This is Kitty. We have 2 kittens, and then we have an older cat. This is one of the kittens. This is Kitty. You might see Pumpkin wandering around. We'll see what she does when I start moving. All right, so we're gonna reach 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Talking about long lines. And then the last one, I hold. So I'm kind of doing like L arms, fourth position arms, and my feet are parallel. So we talk about the flat back. And then depending on how beginner they are, I might move to the middle and then open up to left and then come back and right side, okay? If they're new to flat backs, I'd probably just hold this and get them to kind of work on it and not do all of that. That's a lot to maintain that flat back all the way through. And then from here, we're gonna hold the stretch. And yes, my feet are still parallel. Hi, Kiki. Baby. Yes. And then I'm going to plie in that left side, so getting a little bit more of a stretch, right? The adults love this kind of stretch. Like I said, they don't love to get down on the floor. So this is a good one for them. Yeah, now we're gonna straighten up, and I'm gonna turn my body to face the right side. And you wanna make sure that you're reminding them that both back and front feet have to be parallel. Hips are squared to that wall, right? And I'm not clenching my feet, crunching my toes. I'm holding the stretch. Flat palms if you can. Good, and then we're gonna go into our lunge. I'm gonna lunge, and I'm gonna turn away from you guys as I'm gonna bring up my back arm. So I hold this position. Good. And then for some extra fun, again, depending on the level of class, I do push-ups here. So I bring both of my arms in front of my leg. Now, what I like to do is to bring this front leg back and put it on top and do push-ups from here. But little ones aren't quite ready for that usually, so I let them keep this foot in front and they use all of that, right? So we do 8 push-ups here. Let's pretend I did my 8, right? And then sometimes we'll go down. Notice I still have my knee stretched in the back, going down onto my elbows. Then we're going to lay it down. And again, these can all be adjusted depending on how experienced your dancers are. So we come up, and now I'm stretching my hip flexor, making sure again that the hips are squared off, right? Oh, I kind of have a sickled foot back there, not the best. And then we're going to sit back and stretch. Now, sometimes I don't do this one with my adults. Some of them don't love this position on the floor. So again, you kind of want to adjust. Good. And then we come forward, and here's where a lot of the times I like to incorporate kicks. So I'll ask my dancers to move forward. Now the problem is, if you have younger students who aren't that flexible, it's difficult to have them touch the floor and kick their legs up. They might not be flexible enough here and have the stretch, okay? So if that's the case, okay, I have them go like this and they just practice getting the leg up. They're still getting the work, right, in the glutes and the hamstring, but they don't quite have the flexibility yet. So because I want them to get that work, I'm gonna have them just try to do that and work on their balance, but they can support themselves here until they start to have the flexibility to really go down, okay? So we do our kicks, right? Encouraging the students to control the leg as you come down. And then the last one I always hold. Hello, kitty, kitty, kitty. Right? And then we come down and I move to the center. And then from here I like to do a big plie and stretch and plie and stretch. And let ourselves hang a little bit here. So I'm hanging my head and I'm gonna roll up. Head is the last thing to come up. Okay, so now we're gonna do the other side. So 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. So I have to start reaching this way now. Sometimes I have to double check in my head. All right, so we're in second position and we go. 2. So encourage long lines like this picture with the shoulder down and the chin lifted. This line, right, we use this so much in jazz. So really have the students think about that picture and maybe do a slower song. So after 8, we're here. Okay, again, you can practice your flat backs. Going to each side, you want to make sure the head is in line. Right? So now that we're here, we come down and we stretch, and again, encouraging that both legs are parallel, okay? And then we're gonna plie in the opposite leg. So I'm getting a nice stretch here, making sure that my feet are flat and I'm not crunching my toes. Good, so now I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna turn myself to the left. And again, right, always encouraging that we have squared hips, that back heel is squared off just like my front. Okay, I'm holding the stretch, flat palms if you can. And then I'm gonna drop it down into that lunge. I forgot to mention, always making sure that the knee is over the heel, right? So a lot of my younger ones will do this, right? And they'll sit there and stretch like this, putting a lot of strain on the knee. So you have to really, really watch them getting into this position, making sure that it's here. And we're up, right? So that my back is flat, my shoulder blades are into my back. Yes. And then I'm gonna come down, and here we go for our push-ups, right? And I like to do regular ones. Whoops. That would be 8. Come forward, okay? And now I'm gonna go down onto my elbows. And let's stretch. My back knee is up still. And again, my knee is over my heel. You guys can see it's still in line. Good. Now I'm gonna tuck it under, making sure my hips are squared. I'm not sickling my foot in the back. So sitting up nice and tall, shoulder blades are back, right? Nice stretch in that hip flexor. And now to go the other way, we're gonna stretch this way. Like I said, I have a bad right knee. So this is a little difficult for me to do, but you would be stretching over. Good. And then we're gonna come back, and here we go with those kicks. So again, you know, you might have to make adjustments. 1, hello, and 6, and 7, and hold. Oh, there, straighten that knee. And we hold, and then we come down. And so now I'm back here in second position. Now I'm just gonna let myself hang. Good job, and you can roll up. Okay. All right, guys, so we're gonna now move down to the floor, okay? And first thing that I do is we go over posture, right? So I have them sit with their legs out, stretched, and we talk about the toes a lot and that we're not gonna crunch our toes. I do that all the time, so I like to show my students when I'm doing it. I just have a bad habit, I never fixed it. So we talk about folding the toes, right? And then that lower back. So this part, this is the hardest, right? And with little ones or new dancers or adults, it's not just the back strength that you have to think about. You know, to be able to sit up like this takes strength, but also when your pelvis is in line, your hamstring is being stretched. When our pelvis is curved, that stretch isn't quite so big. It's not as taut. It loosens up, right? So when we have our pelvis straight, we're stretching our hamstrings as well. So sometimes you'll see students that have a beautiful back, but then their knees come up, right? So it's a matter of getting the hamstrings and the back, right? So first we do a posture check, and I have them sit with their arms here, all right? And then I see how they do when we bring the hands up. Can they still maintain that back? Stretching the feet over and over we go. So again, we're encouraging that the chest is open, right? And we're watching our toes, making sure that we're not crunching our toes, keeping ourselves long, and trying to hold the stretch and not bounce, making sure that we're not sickling the feet. This. Right, we get that with students, so you want to make sure that everything is nice and straight. And then I come up and have them come up again to show me that they know how to go back to that straight posture, and we flex our feet, and over we go. Again, making sure ankles are straight. This happens a lot, so we want to be careful of that, right? Making sure this doesn't happen. You saw what I just did? No good? All right, so right, and open, you feel it in the hamstrings more. Good. And then from here, we'll go to second position. Now this is another posture check. Same idea. If you have a student that is sitting back and they can't get up onto their sacrum, they're probably sitting in too wide of a second position. So it's not just, like I said, the back strength, but it's also their flexibility in here. So if I notice a student is struggling, I will often tell them to bring their legs in a little bit closer, or if we want to work on the stretch, maybe bring one leg in. Sometimes they feel like it's easier to get the back and the stretch when they're only working one leg at a time, okay? So you have to really look at each student and see what they need. But posture, posture, posture. So we're pulling up, right? And my knees are going up to the ceiling. My shoulder blades are into my back. my arms are out, they're connected to my back. So they have to show me this picture, right? Making sure that we're not popping the rib cage forward too much, right? We're not doing this because they're trying to get that straight back. So it's that middle ground that we're looking for. Okay, and then we're gonna go side to side. So I go right. And again, making sure that this doesn't happen. You see how I'm coming up? So we can't go so far to each side that our hip comes up. So you wanna think the energy is going down and out, right? As you go to each side. Good, and then we do a side stretch. I'm gonna go to my right, your left, just because I don't feel like we're reversing it today. So a lot of the times I'll tell the kids to look under their arm because it encourages them to do a side stretch and not this. It also helps strengthen their back. If they're in that stable position, that tall position, then it's just using the obliques to crunch. Yes, right? But also lengthen at the same time. And then we come up, and again, this depends on what level, but I'll often have them rotate, try to go back, not letting this come up, this hip come up, no good. So they have to stay grounded and opening up into a back position. And then from here, we go over, right? Again, watching that this hip on this side is not coming up, so into the ground. And we hold that stretch, right? And then we walk it around. And then I have the kids sit up so they get back into that position. Okay. So we're stretching right to the left, and it's the side of the body, and we're looking under our arm, right? Sometimes to get into this position, let me just show you another thing that I do, is to start on an easier level. I have them go one leg at a time. And I have them take, so I'm doing my left right now, okay? So I have them take this hand and turn it so that the palm is going towards the back wall. So they go like this, and then they put their other hand on their hip, and they look to the back corner. So we look like this, and then from here, I tell them to slide their hand down their leg, but stay looking up at that back corner, right? So they're using the arm and they're pushing to open up their chest. So we're here, right? So then we're in that right position for that side stretch, right? And then we come up, and again, you can or cannot do this. It's up to you and your level of class. They show me how they come right back, and then we come over and we stretch on the left side. And again, hold it as long as you want. Then of course we come to the center. And again, just to get that posture back, right? We're walking our hands out. So I have a flat back, and I'm thinking about staying as long and as tall as I can, reaching over, maintaining the turnout, right? So my knees are still trying to go up to the ceiling. And I have a flat back, my shoulders are down, I can breathe well. Hi, cute kitty. Hi, honey. You gonna stretch with me? Right? And you can have them flex a little bit and point. Yeah. And we come up. Good. And then we're gonna come into a butterfly position just to get a break from being stretched out and those legs out so long. And again, posture, 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 posture. Now, depending on the level of the class, sometimes I do contractions. Right, so sometimes I'll have them do a contract, and they come over, and then they flat back on the angle, and then they sit up. This is stealing from one of my modern classes. So I contract, I roll over, I do it slower, right? And then I flat back on the angle, and then I come up. So sometimes I'll add that in, right? But basically we're just looking to open up the hips a little bit, right? And I ask them to, again, say, my dear, come forward. Hi, little one. Yeah, you stretch for me? Yeah. She is too cute. This is Kitty again. I haven't seen Pumpkin. I've seen Kitty. Yeah. All right, so we come up, and sometimes we'll work on hinges, as well. That's something more like maybe in the center. Sometimes for my like intermediate advanced classes, I'll incorporate like hinges into the warm-up. But that is my basic floor warm-up. Now I also have, if you're interested in doing isolations, I also do an isolation warm-up. All right, so we did the full body warm-up and we did our stretch on the floor. And then the last thing that I always incorporate into my jazz warm-up are isolations. They are so very, very important. And I really do feel like not a lot of teachers are doing them in class. So the students end up dancing kind of boxy because they haven't learned how to isolate the rib cage from the shoulder, from the hip, from the head. So I'm going to take you through my isolation exercise. Now, I'm going to show you everything that I do. Again, depending on the level of the class or how much time I have, I might not do all of these variations of things, but I do most of this. All right, so let's get some music on. And you want to figure out what rhythm, what tempo works well with your class. You know, if you're doing a beginner class, you want to pick something that's a little bit slower with the head, or just take things half time. Okay, so we start with our feet hip width apart. Okay, working on again posture, rolling the shoulders back, holding the core. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. I'm reaching my arms down, tick-tock. You go side to side. So yes, I am reaching my arms down to remind me, and look, to remind me to keep my shoulders down because I want to just isolate the head. And then I circle, other way. Good, and then arms come up. And we touch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, double time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and right, and left, and right. Double time. This one, the kids tend to do this with the arms instead of working the head. It's tricky. And then we look to the elbow. 3, 4. Good, and then we come open, nice strong arms connected to the back. And now I'm gonna make circles. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, good. And then we shake our arms out because we just worked them for a bit. And now I'm gonna turn this way. And I'm gonna bring my shoulder. We go up and forward, up and back. Good, and over, over, back it up, back it up. And again, you can do 4 of those, 2 of those, you decide how you wanna do it. Left side, 6, 7, and up. Then we go over, over, back, back. Good. Sometimes I'll do things center like this, alternate, do one and then the other. You know, you can kind of play with it. After this, we go to rib cage. So I always remind the students that your feet are hip width apart and there's a slight bend in your knee. And we go forward and back, forward. Forward, kitty, kitty's coming back. And we go right. So the hips are square, and it's just the ribs. And sometimes I'll do a box, right, front, left, back, right, front, left, reverse, and left. Hi, kitty, kitty. And left, front. And we can circle. Circle. 3 and 4 and 1, 2 3, 4, good, and hips. So the hips you can do 2 different ways. This is, you can have them work on lifting up, so they plie and bring the sides up like this. You can also do the push, tick-tock hips, where you kind of push them out side to side. This one is generally easier for little kids to understand. It's also a fantastic exercise for learning how to shift weight, okay? But keeping your feet closer and going up and up. So I'm pushing down in this leg, helps me lifting this hip up, and then it switches, right? It's a little more involved. What we always do, rolling, right? So I'm gonna do 4 slow rolls here, and 3, and 4, left. 1, 2, and again, this is the beginner version. So if you were doing intermediate advanced, you might wanna do figure 8s. Sometimes I do like back and back and back and back, and do exercises like that, and walking, and do, you can really have fun with it. All right, so at that point, we do kicks, okay? So after this is all said and done, what I do is we work on our kicks. So we look at our form here, making sure that we're nice and parallel. Everything should be nice and warmed up. Their core should be warmed up. This is also a good core exercise too. Arms are in second position, and the kids swing the leg up and put it back, and swing the leg up and put it back, right? So I do this depending on the level of experience and the age and all of that. Usually it's just 8 kicks on the right going forward, and then we switch and do 8 kicks on the left. Sometimes I will have the kids try to grab the leg on count 8. So if I have a strong group that has very strong backs, they'll try to catch it. But the issue with that is you don't want them going here and then trying to pull it up, right? So the back is straight, the leg comes to you, right? And you bring that leg close to you, you don't reach for it. So that's tricky, that's hard. So probably at a beginner level, I don't have them catch their leg. We just work on low kicks, right? And same thing left, same thing to the side, but I turn out a bit here. So I'm kicking in front of my arm, I'm following the leg line to the corner, and then it comes back to that position, right? So again, learning how to stay on your center and have the freedom to move this leg. In the very beginning, we start at the bar, here, right? Just practicing, what does it feel like to kick back? But once they understand what it feels like to kick back, and they can start playing with positions, we work on this. So it's 8, and then we switch, 8, and then we go to the back. So 8 straight legs. Sometimes on count 8, I'll have them do an attitude and arch back, so we can work on attitude and get a little bit of flexibility in the back as well. So it's 8 front, 8 side, 8 back, 8 back. And then that's pretty much it. That's the warm up. And after that, it's, working on pirouettes or across the floor usually, and then maybe a combo, depending on what I feel like that day. So that is my beginner intermediate, maybe jazz warm up. I really, really hope that you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you made it through to the end of the video. Please subscribe, like, and post. How's my cat? Hi. Please like and subscribe, and make sure that you like it so you can get notifications on when I'm doing another video. All right, guys. Kitty, kitty. Uncle kitty, kitty. Say goodbye. Come here. You want to say bye-bye? Come here. Say bye-bye. What's this? You want to say bye-bye, kitty, kitty? She's not into it. Okay, I'm sorry. She doesn't want to be picked up. Bye, guys. Have a great rest of your day.